New York Giants season, for now, has been saved. The New York Giants were trailing 20-0 at half, so for a game and a half, they had been outscored 60-0. 40-0 versus the Cowboys, of course, then 20-0 in the first half against what should be the worst team in the league in Arizona. One of the worst, if not the worst. And the Giants were down by 21 points. They were down by 21 points in the midway through the third quarter? Yeah, about midway through the third quarter, the Giants were down 21-7 and were able to mount a comeback, their largest comeback in the Super Bowl era. And I believe it ties for their largest comeback, I think, in team history. 1949, they were also down by 21 points. And, the stat was 20-plus points. The longest time, the last time they had come back from a 20-plus point deficit was 1950. But then it became a 21-point deficit. The point is that this went from being, the conversation here would have been like, hey, this might be the worst team in football, to the Giants put up 31 points in the second half after doing nothing for the first game and a half of the season. So look, it is Arizona, so that has to be a part of it. But wow, just the turnaround is crazy. What could have been, this could have been an episode just about, hey, season is over. Season is literally over 2 games in. However, they have won, and now, you can take a step back, and obviously, San Francisco, a very quick turnaround facing the Niners on Thursday Night Football. But if you lose it now, not the end of the world. You're 1-2, and whereas, things would have looked very bleak. Daniel Jones puts up just a fantastic second half. The defense was extremely concerning. Joshua Dobbs had a great game against this Giant defense, and so I'm not going to give them much credit. Yeah, they made some shots in the second half, but boy, did they look bad. Really, really bad. The one injury that comes out of this game of note, two. Ben Bredesen leaves with a concussion, and so that's concerning, especially, he will not be playing versus the Niners on Thursday, no way. Andrew Thomas did not play in this game, which we weren't sure about after last week. He did not play in this game. Maybe he will versus the Niners. We'll see. But then Saquon Barkley at the end sprains his. It looks like it's some low grade. If I had to guess right now, it's an ankle injury. It seems like he's avoided a major injury. My guess is that Saquon will definitely not play versus San Fran Thursday. And look, Saquon is not as good playing through injury. This is not me questioning his toughness, but Saquon, you want to get him fresh and good. So I'm just looking at that Seattle game. Luckily, it's a Monday night one, but my guess right now, maybe this is me being pessimistic, I do think Saquon misses a few games here. I do think Saquon is going to miss maybe 2 to 3 games. Just a guess. I don't think it's a major injury from what it sounds like, which is good news, but it's too bad. One of the last plays of the game, as the Giants were trying to put themselves in a position to take the lead with the field goal, Saquon does hurt his ankle, and so that is very unfortunate. To lose him is obviously very important, but a lot of people did step up, and what a crazy wild game. I really wanted to go in there and get the win and ideally do it handily. It didn't work that way, and it was the opposite. And Arizona really took it to the Giants on all levels. They just seemed like they wanted it more. They were pushing. The Giants' defensive line was getting just bullied, in my opinion, by the Arizona offensive line. The linebackers missed tackling. It was just ugly. After all that went wrong in the first game, it all continued into game 2. It was crazy. But they are able to give them credit, though. They could have just said, hey, we're not coming back here. But they dug down deep and had a comeback for the ages. Honestly, the fact that the Giants were capable of doing this is impressive. That the offense just puts up 31 points in the second half is no easy task, considering that they put up 0 in the first 6 quarters. So, credit still needs to be given to the New York Giants. Like I said, Daniel Jones ends up 26 for 37 with 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, which, quite frankly, was really Saquon's fault. It was another situation, this one was worse, where Saquon goes off of his hands and into the arms of the Cardinal defender, Jalen Thompson. So, yeah, I can't blame Jones there. Look, was Jones good in the first half? No, he wasn't. As far as the offensive line goes, pretty big shakeups. So Andrew Thomas doesn't start. So what happens is Josh Azudu, who we've seen more as a guard, was the starting left tackle over Matt Parrott. Izzuto, and I guess he did a decent enough job. I think the first play he did have a false start, but he had Izzuto left tackle. Bredesen was left guard, however, was replaced by Mark Glowinski, who did not start. They started Marcus McKeithen at right guard over Glowinski. But Glowinski did come in to play left guard, which just crazy juggling. But it did work against a weak Cardinal a weak Cardinal defensive line. They were able to hold up. It wasn't without its struggles, and Jones was sacked. The Giants still have 0 sacks through 2 games. They still have 0 turnovers through 2 games, but they were able to find a way to win this game in pretty crazy fashion. So, I guess let's start talking about the game. Maybe let me look at some offensive, some stats. They end up being in favor of the Giants for the most part. Giants had a couple more first downs. Third down efficiency was really good. 7 for 12 on third downs and 1 for 1 on fourth down, which was good after, I think, an 0 for 3 start. So when they needed to, the Giants made some pretty big plays. Specifically, we'll talk about Jalen Hyatt. His catch coming out of the second half to start really got things going. But then the defense did struggle. But like I said, we'll get into it. And then from there, penalties on both sides. Giants took 9 penalties. Cardinals took 8. The Giants' penalties were worth 75 yards. The time possession was basically dead even. This was an even game. It was basically a tale of 2 halves. Cardinals had the first half. Giants had the second half. And the Giants' second half was just a little bit better. And so they were able to get this comeback win. Just wanted to also say, please like and subscribe. Great, to see the Giants get this win and to continue, rooting for this team and not having to go into rooting for a tank mode or anything. So we're going to continue to, of course, discuss Giant football with even more than just the post-game recaps. In a few weeks, I plan on doing some more preview episodes and doing some fun things there. So, definitely be happy to have everyone on board, and please like and subscribe as we hope that the Giants can build off of this win. So, like I said, it starts out pretty ugly, but the Giants kind of end up lucky after this first drive, where it ends up in a Matt Prater missed 55-yard field goal. James Conner starts out with a 17-yard run. So right off the bat, Cardinals looking good. They get another first down to Marquise Brown. There might be some things I miss, and I apologize for that. I'll try to cover everything that I can. But ultimately, it ends up 4th and 6 to the Giant 37, and Prater misses it wide left, which, as it turns out, ends up being pretty big. Then the Giants go 3 and out to start. You get an Izzuto false start to start out. And on a 3rd and 2, Jones, the Jones-Slayton connection doesn't work. It's an incomplete pass, and the Giants punt it away. And the Cardinals go on a 9-play, 86-yard drive to give themselves a 7-0 lead. Joshua Dobbs with a 13-yard run, and Xavier McKinney's called for an unnecessary roughness penalty. I don't know if they had to call that, but they did. And then, Cardinals move into Giant territory. There's a 3rd and 7 conversion. So now the Cardinals are in the red zone, and they're moving it well. James Conner finishes it off with a 4-yard run, gives the Cards a 7-0 lead. Then the Giants again, they do get 1 first down, Jones to Hodgins for 12 yards. However, Jones is sacked on 3rd and 4, and so they punt it away. And then the Cardinals have another good drive, and this was a drive that started at the end of the first quarter and bled into the second quarter. It is a 7-play, 80-yard drive. 3 minutes and 27 seconds. It was quick. Trey McBride with a 23-yard catch, Zach Ertz with a 14-yard catch, and eventually a big play on 3rd and 5 from Josh Dobbs to Rondell Moore. And then a 23-yard scramble run for Josh Dobbs to start the second quarter for a touchdown. It was ugly. The Giants, the pass rush was not there, and I think that's a problem. Another thing I should mention, no Azeez Ojulari. The injury bug for Azeez Ojulari continues. He hurt his hamstring in practice, and so Ojane Zimenez was promoted from the practice squad. Interesting that it was him and not Simone Fox, for example. Some other interesting lineup notes. Darnay Holmes inactive. Cordell Flott was in. Didn't really notice him much. Also of note, Shane Lemieux back in. I think Shane Lemieux might have been a scratch in week 1, so he was in there. No Lawrence Cager. Lawrence Cager was an inactive, healthy scratch, and they only went with 2 tight ends, Waller and Bellinger. So an interesting sort of roster decisions there for the Giants. Tywan Jones was promoted again from the practice squad as a core special teams guy. Trying to think if there was anything else of note. That's all that's really coming to mind for me right now. So 14-0 Cards. And then the Giants go 3-and-out again. Just an ugly drive, and the Cardinals start out at their own 27, and they would get a field goal out of this. A lot of James Conner. The big play was Dobbs to Marquise Brown for 22 yards. There's a roughing the passer penalty on Okereke, which didn't help the Giants, and eventually Matt Prater ends up with a 37-yard field goal, makes it 17-0. So then the Giants down 17-0, middle of the second quarter. They would get some good plays. Saquon Barkley, was running the ball okay. And Darren Waller starts getting implemented. 12-yard catch for him on a third down to extend the drive. Saquon Barkley with a 10-yard catch for a first down. But on 2nd and 8 at the Cardinal 36 with 4:30 left in the second quarter, Saquon Barkley, it goes off his hands. The throw by Jones goes off Barkley's hands and into the arms of Jalen Thompson, who returns it to the Giant 34. And so now it's a 17-0 Cardinal lead, and they have the ball. I guess give the Giant defense some credit that they were able to, not let it go any further as Matt Prater gets a 44-yard field goal to make it 20-0. I was surprised the Giants didn't call their third and final timeout after a play where the Cardinals lost 2 yards on a run play. They let 40 seconds go off the clock. I would have called a timeout on the Giants. They chose to hold on to it, and ultimately it ends up in nothing. As the Giants get the ball back with a little more than a minute to go, and Paris Campbell has a drop at one point that kind of stops things. And then Jones gets sacked to end the half. So an ugly end of the first half. Giants down 20-0. Like I said, a combined 60-0 score in the first game and a half. But in the second half, the offense starts out really, really good. I can't say the same for the defense, but the offense does. First play of the half, Jalen Hyatt, 58-yard catch. It's exciting to have him in this offense. The Giants have lacked this explosiveness, and he can provide that. And then 2 plays later, Daniel Jones with a 14-yard touchdown run cuts this to 20-7. However, the Giant defense does a terrible job on the drive after. An absolutely embarrassing job. So James Conner with a 22-yard run on 2nd and 10. Then there was a potential interception by Jason Pinnock, but the right call was made. Bobby Okereke interfered with Zach Ertz. Otherwise, the interception never happens. So the Cardinals have good field position. James Conner gets a 21-yard run, and then eventually on 2nd and goal at the 3, Josh Dobbs to Marquise Brown. Gives the Cardinals a 26-7 lead, and they take it a step further. They go for 2 and get it. Dobbs runs it in, gives the Cardinals a 28-7 lead. So the Giants are down by 21 points to start this drive with 9:34 left in the third quarter. So down by 21 points. So really it hit, in terms of percentages of them coming back, it was even worse than it was in the first half. Like, the Giants, think about this. I mean, you have a 3rd and 12. Like, it was at a point where the Giants were down 28-7, and Daniel Jones scrambles for 13 yards, 3rd and 12 at their own 34. That's like as bad as it got. It got really bad, but Jones is able to get the first down on that play. Granted, maybe it would have been 4th down. I don't know. Like, maybe it was in Arizona territory at that point. So, but either way, they get that first down there. And then eventually, a key unnecessary roughness penalty where Jones gets sacked, but a dumb penalty by Arizona. That was pretty big as it puts the Giants in an easier situation. And a 3rd and goal at the 1, Saquon punches it in. A 1-yard touchdown run for Saquon makes it 28-14. Then the Cardinals, even though they do convert on a 3rd and 11, which was frustrating, they do convert on a 3rd and 11. We go into the fourth quarter, and then from there, the Giants get the stop. So it wasn't pretty, but they get the stop. The Giants get the ball back, down 2 touchdowns, and they put together a 13-play, 80-yard drive. And some of the big plays, Darius Slayton with a 15-yard catch, Darren Waller with a 25-yard catch, Darren Waller again for 14, and on 3rd and 7, you get a Paris Campbell 6-yard catch, so 4th and 1, a key QB sneak by Daniel Jones to give them the first down, so eventually, it's a 1st and goal from the 4, but Evan Neal with a false start at 3rd and goal at the 4, so Evan Neal was better, I guess, but also had some pretty key penalties. We'll talk about another one that happens, but on 3rd and goal at the 9, a nice connection from Jones to Barkley. Nice catch by Barkley. He's able to stay in. get the ball on the pylon, and so the Giants score a touchdown here, and they were going to go for two. They were going to go for two. However, it's a false start on Paris Campbell, and so they opt for the extra point. So that could have been a big thing there. The Giants ended up winning the game, so it's not. So the Giants remain down a touchdown, and then the defense does the job. There was a false start as well that helped here for Arizona, but the Cardinals go 3 and out. The Cardinals started to get very conservative at this point, where they were doing even though things were kind of getting away from them on the defensive side, I thought the Cardinal offense was still doing pretty well, but then it really, really got away from them. And so now the Giants had the ball down by a touchdown with 7:30 left in the fourth quarter. Daniel Jones starts that with a 15-yard run. Jalen Hyatt a 31-yard catch, so the Giants are in good field position. And then after a Darren Waller 13-yard catch to put the Giants in first and goal, it looked as if they had a Daniel Jones touchdown run. However, a penalty by Evan Neal, a very key offensive holding penalty. And so eventually you end up at second and goal at the 11, but the Giants get it done. Jones to Hodgins, an 11-yard touchdown. Ties up for the Giants. They do opt to go for the extra point. It is good for Gano, and we're all tied up at 28 just like that. They come back from 28-7 down with 3 straight touchdowns, and then with 4:25 left, the Giant defense does the job. There was a false start in there. There was actually a couple of false starts as well, and so the Cardinals punt it away. The Giants get the ball back with 2:30 to go, and Saquon Barkley really takes over. And we saw that a little bit last year where he had some really nice runs. Darius Slayton with a nice 18-yard reception as well. Barkley with a key 16-yard run to the Arizona 20. And then Arizona starts calling timeouts. The Giants start to get conservative. It's understandable, though. And unfortunately, on 2nd and 13 at the Cardinal 23, Saquon gets yards but gets hurt here. It appears as if he sprains his ankle. He went off, pretty painful. And so that's the very unfortunate part of this game is that, you're not going to have Saquon Barkley versus San Francisco, and we'll see what his status is for that Seattle game week 4. Would love to have him back by then. I just don't know if you will. And so eventually, the Cardinals call their final timeout. Graham Gano, with 19 seconds left, kicks the game-winning field goal. A 34-yard field goal for Gano. And then the Cardinals get the ball back with about 15 seconds left. They make it semi-interesting as there's a 19-yard completion to Wilson, but there's an incomplete pass by Dobbs, so they try for like a Hail Mary, maybe hoping for a defensive pass interference down 3. It doesn't work out. It's an incomplete pass, and the New York Giants complete a historic comeback. A 31-28 win for the New York Giants against a bad Cardinal team, but still something for them to be proud of. And, hopefully that they can build off this and, play a competitive game for San Francisco. For me, thoughts are not particularly high going into this game, just because I think that you're dealing with a really good San Fran team. Let me think as well. Is this San Francisco's... I think this is their first home game as well. It is. So it'll be their first home game as well. They'll be fired up on Thursday night. Again, I don't think the Giants win this game. It's a matter of can they carry some of the things they did more on the offensive side into the San Francisco game? I don't think it's going to be particularly pretty, but even if they lose, you'll be 1-2 with still a lot of games to go. And what this win did is it kept things. It made losing to San Francisco a lot more tolerable and a lot more easy to take. Is what happened here. So. Down 20-0, like I said, down 20-0 at half after what happened last week, down 28-7, you're in the middle of the third quarter, and the Giants are able to not only win this, but win it in regulation as well. It didn't even go to overtime. They win this game 31-28, 31 points in the second half, including 24 unanswered to win this game. They will stay out west. They will go from Arizona to take on the, really, really good best team in the NFC West, certainly, San Francisco 49ers. The Giants get their first win of the season. They are now 1-1.